What's up, 8th grade? It's Mr. Snyder here with your conclusion paragraph. We are almost done with the capstone project. All right, you've got one more paragraph to draft up and write and turn in by the end of this weekend. All right, I'm going to give a little bit of an extension because you haven't really worked on these yet. So we're going to have some extra time here. But the cool thing is you're able to actually mirror or kind of mimic some of the things that you do in your introductory paragraph and what you talk about in your body paragraphs in order to formulate your conclusion paragraph. This paragraph, it's going to be similar to the introduction, but in a way that it doesn't look like the introduction. So let me explain here. We're looking at the Purdue Online Writing Lab, the Purdue OWL, all right, about, let's take the top here, argument of essay. So you're arguing for the implementation of educational incentives into the everyday school, all right, why they're important, why they work, what they seek to achieve, and why they're needed, right? So that's what it's about. Now, we're going to scroll down here, and this is what we're looking at, this point right here. All right, this paragraph. Conclude that does not simply restate the thesis, but readdresses it in light of the evidence provided. All right, so in your introduction, you haven't really given us any specifics to the point of what you're going to argue. You just kind of give that in your thesis statement, and then you give your specifics in the body paragraphs. Now, you are going to not just restate the thesis, but you're going to talk about your thesis with some of those more evidential sentences. All right. So read along with me here. This is the gist of what you're going to be doing. It is at this point of the essay that students begin to struggle. No, I always struggled with them. This is the portion of the essay that will leave the most immediate impression on the mind of the reader. I mean, it's the last thing that they're reading, so it makes sense. Therefore, it must be effective and logical. Do not, guys, do not introduce any new information into the conclusion. Rather, synthesize the information presented in the body of the essay. So you're essentially giving me like the gist of the things that you were saying. Restate why the topic is important. Okay? Why did you write this? Why do you want these lawmakers in Harrisburg and elsewhere to know about educational incentives and their effectiveness? Review the main points and review your thesis. You may also want to include a discussion of more research that should be completed in light of your work. You don't need to do that. Okay? You don't need to do that. This part right here, yeah, you want to take a stab at it, go for it. But biggest thing, tell the reader why. It is so important that you undertook all this time to discuss with them why educational incentives need to be implemented into our educational system. All right? Again, do not introduce any new information into the conclusion. Rather, synthesize the information presented in the body of the essay, state why the topic is important. Remind the reader why they were reading that paper in the first place and what needs to be done about the sort of things that you are arguing for, okay, or against, in case you decided to completely change your argument and go from arguing for to against. I'm good with either. But that's what you are going to be doing. So if you need to find more examples of this, you can find them all over the place. My biggest recommendation would be to look at your introductory paragraph if you've done it right. Look at the 3 points in your thesis and point back to those and really explain to the reader why it's so important that educational incentives be introduced consistently in educational classrooms and curriculums and all that. All right, so that's the question that you're going to be answered with that paragraph. Type to me, Mr. Snyder, why it's so important that these things be included. Okay, so that should help things up for you here. I will leave this link in the classroom, in Google Classroom. You'll be able to click on it and you can scroll down here and check this out. If you have any other questions, my office hours will be fully open tomorrow, so pop on in whenever. And hopefully, if you guys have any questions, I will see you then. All right, well, take it easy. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face.